a highway, high road, barbaricness. Where does these teenagers come up with so much hate? This Kanaya Baker was missing 6 days ago, and now she's dead. Don't hear it from me. What a tragedy. Do you know where your teens are? Do you know what your teens are going through? Are your teens in your home are being bullied? Do you know what's happening with your teens? Are they involving in killing, burning, beating people, bullying people? Are you getting a hold of your teen and keep them in control? Let's get into this one. What a tragedy. This is a sad case. Our heart and soul goes out to the Baker family. So from 6 days ago, and I'm going to bring you to the end of the case, okay?
Deputies need your help tonight finding a missing 13-year-old girl they believe may be in danger. She is Kanaya Baker. Baker was last seen on Auburn Leaf Drive off of Leesburg Road in Hopkins on Monday. Deputies say she might be in the Faro Road area or also near Beltline Boulevard. She is 5'1". She weighs about 100 pounds. She has red extensions in her hair right now. If you know where she is, please call Richland County, or of course you can call Crime Stoppers at 1-888 Crime SC.
Okay, guys. So after that, we thought that they're going to find her somewhere. We thought they're going to find her somewhere because from 6 days, you know, these teens nowadays, they go missing. At times they don't find them, but at times they find them. And when it comes to the Black community again, a lot of our teens go missing and they claim that they run away when they're in immediate danger, when they end up in sex trafficking, when there's all kind of story, people. After that, let's get into this one. After that, okay? After that, this is what happened. After that, could you imagine? After that, this is what happened.
Over in Columbia, South Carolina, police are investigating a suspicious death of a missing 13-year-old girl.
Listen.
Earlier this week, we told you that police were searching for Kanaya Baker, who they believe to be in danger. Well, on Wednesday, Columbia Fire responded to a house fire. That's when they discovered a body and told police. And on Friday, the Richland County coroner confirmed that the body found was Baker. It is now being investigated as a homicide.
Could you
South
imagine?
Carolina.
And then after that, people, guess who's arrested? 2 teens of her age. Let's get into it. 2 teens of her age. Let's get into it. Police is having a conference.
All right, good evening. The purpose for this press conference is to discuss the most recent developments regarding the murder of 13-year-old Kanaya Baker. We're joined by our city manager, Ms. Teresa Wilson, City Councilman Ed McDowell, Councilman Tyler Bailey, Chief Aubrey Jenkins, Richland County Coroner Nada Rutherford, and our Fifth Circuit Solicitor, Byron Gibson. Brutal, heinous, vicious, gruesome, monstrous, and disturbing. These are the words I use to describe this murder investigation. On Wednesday night at about 10:30 p.m., the Columbia Richland Fire Department responded to a reported structure fire at 114 Cardamom Court. That's in Capitol Heights neighborhood off of Farrow Road. That neighborhood consists of 102 residences, of which 30 are occupied. The location of the fire was in one of the 72 unoccupied units on the property. The fire department arrived to find smoke coming from inside the residence, and they made entry and soon located the deceased person on the floor inside.
Wow.
At that point, they contacted the police department, and of course, we responded to the scene. Upon our arrival, we determined that the deceased was a female and she had suffered traumatic injuries to her face and body and had been severely burned. Ms. Rutherford will speak to the extent of the injuries and why I described this crime as heinous, vicious, and monstrous. The crime scene investigators worked with the Columbia Fire Department investigators as well as SLED arson investigators, and they spent hours inside the residence along with our crime scene investigators. For the rest of the night, it was over an 8-hour process to complete the investigation inside the house. Our officers documented the important trace evidence and blood evidence in the house, and of course our fire subject matter experts worked to determine the origin and cause of the fire. The next day, investigators met with the Richland County Sheriff's Department. The reason we did this is there was no identification found on the body or any evidence inside the residence that would help us identify the victim. In our meeting with the Sheriff's Department, we learned that they had recently taken up an investigation of a missing juvenile. We learned that that juvenile was similar in size and age to our victim, so we thought that there was a possibility that they could be connected. We worked with the Richland County Sheriff's Department's DNA lab and the coroner's office to ultimately determine that our victim was in fact their missing juvenile. And I'll invite the coroner to elaborate on that identification further in just a minute. We're very appreciative of the assistance that we received on the scene by our Columbia Fire Department, our SLED arson investigators, and the coroner's office. This has been a extremely difficult case to work. I've watched our investigators work literally nonstop since Wednesday, and I really mean nonstop, day and night. They have conducted themselves in just the utmost professional way in very difficult circumstances. Let me talk about our two suspects. Overnight, we've arrested 2 people. Our first suspect is a 16-year-old female.
Could you imagine?
Her last known address was in Columbia. She was reported missing by her mom on January 12th.
You're dead.
She has a history of disorderly conduct, malicious injury, throwing bodily fluids. She was wanted by the Department of Juvenile Justice for cutting off her ankle monitor around January 12th. She was last enrolled in a local high school in January of 2024, and she's currently...
Do you hear that? So one of the perpetrator is a juvenile, a 16-year-old on the loose. What do we always say? When you cannot keep your children under control from their young until they're teen, then it's going to be havoc on the world. Because she's a runaway, cut off her ankle bracelet, and end up killing another teen that went missing after her mom reported the perpetrator missing. And the other mom report the other teen that they kill and burn and bludgeon to death in a vacant house. Missing. Oh no. Missing, end up death. Lock up, clunk, clunk. Oh my. Where our teen gets so much hate from. Let's continue.
Has dropped out, and she is a frequent runaway. Our second suspect is a 15-year-old female.
Wow.
Her last known address is also in Columbia. She also was enrolled in a local high school as of last December. She is currently listed as dropped out, and she also is a frequent runaway. Our victim was originally from Sumter, South Carolina. She was most recently in foster care here in Columbia, Richland, and was reported missing on January 12th. She also has a history of running away. I'll ask the coroner now to give us some information on exactly what the cause of death was and anything that she might want to add.
Rated R, rated R, rated R.
Identifying a minor can be difficult. They don't have a DMV profile. They usually don't have fingerprints on file. And so we start with the basics. We look at missing teens, and Richland County Sheriff's Department contacted us with a possible description of a young girl who had gone missing. Unfortunately, the description that they were giving to us did not match what we had in front of us.
Oh no.
And unfortunately, the description provided of Kanaya Baker was so different, in fact, that even the pictures that they sent of her just did not seem to match up.
And that's the problem.
Due to severe trauma to her head, face, and body, visual identification just was not possible. And so we had to turn to science. We contacted Sheriff Leon Lott and asked him to...
That is so troubling and disturbing. And that happened a lot with our black youth when they go missing. Wrong picture, wrong description. Mama at times don't know how the children them left the house. Mama really don't have no update pictures at times. And mama's maybe working 2 jobs that mama didn't even come and catch the child when they're leaving. So mama don't even know what they're wearing. Description. Not only that, a lot of these parents not bringing these children to the dentist. So a case like this, I'm assuming that they maybe tried to use all dental records to identify her. Her body was burnt that bad by a 16-year-old runaway who cut off her ankle bracelet and another 15-year-old. How can teens be so cold, vile, barbaric, savage, full of hate? I'm not sure. Let's continue.
Please run DNA from dirty clothing found at the foster home that her foster mom brought to us. We used that clothing to extract DNA, and they were able to run that. We also simultaneously obtained dental records so that we could match the dentals from her last appointment. We were able to confirm that the young girl found in the burning house on Carterman Court was that of missing teen Kanaya Baker. The manner of death is not an accident, and this is not a suicide. This is a horrible homicide. Her cause of death is blunt force trauma. And I want to address some rumors that I've seen online and from several media outlets who have called. She was not pregnant that we could visually see at autopsy. We're still waiting on slides, but at this time we do not have a confirmation that she was pregnant at the time of her death.
And she's 13.
Kanaya was bludgeoned, stabbed, and burned. We will continue to collaborate with law enforcement to bring justice to her and her family. And I just would like to say this. Dr. Bill Stevens and Ashley Berganios, our child fatality director, along with the Columbia Police Department and the Richland County Sheriff's Department, we've been up for days working this case and trying to find answers for this family.
So it's troubling and disturbing. This child was removed from her home, ended up in foster home, and now dead. Oh, Father God, I say, we pray for our nation, pray for her younger generation. They're growing up with no morals, no love, full of hate, easy to kill. It's all of this. A lot of our children are runaways, get caught up in some things, and all of these kind of things. Mental health, all of these kind of things are running these young children wild. Are you loving your children at home? Paying attention to them more? Make sure that they're out of trouble. If you're doing so, then I guess you're doing on the right track. At the end of the day, people, I don't want to drag this out. Peace and love, and rest in peace, Kanaya. And not only that, to the family, our condolences. Peace and love.